they're like, hey, stop giving. Think about business. Think about this. Think about that. Blah, 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 blah. But they try to bury, like they try to like stop it. But in the end, they don't really know what's coming out of it. And there's a few things or examples that I have in the business that I see that the seeds are growing. And actually, I want to take this example, the co-working space. I've been giving a lot, cheap prices, good service, as in very warm and heartily. This is for me. This is not a business project. This is not a profit project. This is purely for getting the right people together.
Mm.
And actually now I do feel it during this quarantine. People are asking me like, hey, Peter, I really miss coming to the co-working space. Can I please come and work here? I really like it so much. And it's not that, it feels good.
Good evening, Peter. How are you?
Hi, Peter. Very good. Thanks. You?
I'm doing fine. I'm very grateful having you as a guest. Now, these are
Thank you
very
for
special.
inviting me.
Thanks a lot. Now these are special times, Peter. I mean,
Exactly.
we're in full Corona time. We're the 13th of April. I mean, you have a company. You create videos for companies, for marketing divisions. What is actually the impact for you of Corona?
It's a bloodbath.
Okay.
Well, it's of course, I have two companies. It's first of all, it's the video business, and then the co-working space / event space. For both of them, business at the moment is at zero, literally no income, like no revenue, nothing. And it's quite scary. The only lucky part that I have with the video business is that I'm not in the event sector, which means I do not make videos on big events and big gatherings, because that's over anyways. So I focus on the corporate part, which is interviews, podcasts, explainer videos, and so on. And they actually could start again as soon as the new studio is ready. They can just start again, of course, with respect to the Corona measurements of like the distance rules and so on. But basically at this point, the impact is a disaster for the cash flow, but also I mean, I'm not creating videos for 4 or 5 weeks now. So you lose the creativity, the sense of creativity in a certain way. So it's it's not good, but I think we've been talking about this before. There's also a very positive part about this, having time on my hands.
Yeah.
Finally. Yes. Certainly. I mean, I remember the moment that they said there would be a lockdown. The first client called me to cancel the shoot for, I don't know, like in 2 or 3 days after that moment. The second client, the third client, the fourth client, mails started coming in, and like you're like, oh shit. Well, this is real. I mean, you don't realize it at the first moment, and then you immediately start thinking like, okay, what am I going to do to solve this? What is my plan? Emergency plan, critical thinking. What am I going to do? Bam, 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 bam. And I started immediately thinking about what I should be doing. Although actually, as you know, there wasn't a lot of time needed to think about what I should do. I have this studio. I'm in the old studio right now, and I was planning to move into the new film studio, but it had to be renovated or prepared. So for me, actually, the first thing I did was like, okay, good. I now have time to start renovating the new film studio. Something I would not have in a regular time, because I usually only renovate during the weekends. It's impossible to do that during the week because of work. And that was actually like, of course you still have this in the back of your head, like, well, fuck, this is not good. But in the meantime, I started working so much and so hard that I just forgot about everything. And even until this point, like we're 4 or 5 weeks after the first, or like the strict measurements, um, I'm still not thinking about the whole crisis. Of course, I do try to read the news a little bit and try to keep
Mm.
informed. Like I like
Yeah.
to read opinions from Peter de Keyser,
Yes.
for example, or Geert Nuls, like these kind of people I really like to
Mm-hmm.
follow on. I like their opinion about this whole thing. So these kind of people I still follow, and the main headlines. But besides that, I have all the other negative energy
Yeah.
out,
So
so I can focus.
yeah. So you focus, and you don't want to see. You don't want to lower your baseline in your head into
No,
negativity
sure.
or in fear.
The fear is there. I mean, when I have a moment to think, for example, I'm now renovating the studio, and there is a moment that I start scrolling on Instagram, whatever, and like I have 5 minutes of headspace, or I go down and sit in the sun, for example. Of course, I start thinking like, okay,
But
cash flow wise,
okay, I understand. But
uh
maybe that's the problem. It's the thinking.
yeah, of course, the thinking is a problem. Overthinking. I'm overthinking at that point, and you cannot. I can't control it in a way, because I can push it away by thinking about something positive, like, oh, the studio, oh, nice.
Yeah.
You still have this thing in your head, like basic financials, like this is the
Yeah.
monthly cash flow, like this is zero. This is the leftovers. This is the cash flow that I generated the first 3 months, and this is the monthly cost. Like you just start calculating, and it's, of course, there's a little bit of fear left, but I just try to think positive, whatever.
Mm.
And actually, the very first thing I think I did was, I'm a very visual person,
Mm-hmm.
and I found this image on the internet, and I don't exactly remember the text, but it says, whenever you're surrounded by darkness,
Yes.
look again, because you can be the light.
Yeah.
And for me, I immediately, I have this A3 printer. I printed it on a big A3 paper, and I just put it next to my desk. Simply because, yes, there's a lot of negativity, and for sure in the media, and for sure from other people. But I saw the opportunity in. It's not really an opportunity. I just felt this need of, I'm a very positive person. I'm
Yeah.
very energetic. You might
Yeah.
notice this now. And I want to radiate. I want to
Yeah.
give other people that same
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's why I start sharing again, like a lot of things on my
Yeah.
social media. Like I started renovating it. A friend of mine even asked, "Hey, can you just live stream this renovation?"
Yeah.
And I did that for the first, I don't know, first week. I tried some live streams just to have people look at me, just to share the positivity, and like, no, I'm not letting my head down, even
And
though this is a very hard period.
did it give you energy, positive energy?
Yes. Yes, of course. And that's why I have this, by pushing away, I mean, I rather have a look at this negative thing. For example, let's just cash flow. I just
Mm-hmm.
look at the cash flow. I'm like, okay, how can we solve this? There's this fear, but still, I'm looking at it with a positive mind.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is a big problem,
Mm-hmm.
but that problem is not for now, because how should I say? Um, there's no cash flow, so we cannot solve it. Done. What else can we do? And that's just how I tried to think. And we'll see after, when this quarantine is over, we'll see what happens. I don't know. We don't know. And that's, I'm not gonna, um, yeah, like, how's it- I'm not gonna stress about something I don't know yet.
Which is in the future. Yeah.
Exactly. No one knows. Not even like politicians or
But
whatever. So
isn't
yeah.
that the thing about Corona? I mean, we used to think that we know what the future is going to look like, and that gave us ourselves a very false feeling of security. But now we don't know. We don't know when it's going to be over. We don't know what is going to change. We don't know what the impact is. The only thing that we can control is the way we react to the situation or the event.
Yes, absolutely. There's another, but I don't remember. But it's indeed how you react to a certain situation that is, you know, is more important than what is actually happening. I'm a strong believer in that as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's the same like what you said before. I have a very powerful thing to control my mind is when something negative happens, I can
Mm.
quite easily put in, turn it into something positive. Like even like long story short, like someone passed away in my family, and instead of like, yes, of course I cried, I had left some tears, but I immediately switched that to, hey, I'm gonna make that person proud
Yeah.
by doing what I do,
Yeah.
right? um, and it's quite easy to do so, even with a crisis, even with co-working space, bad luck in business. Like, just switch it. Like a client that I lost last year, a big client, no, turn it into something positive. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have better clients instead of that
Yeah. Or the
client.
lesson. Or the
um,
lesson.
and the lesson, of course, absolutely, what did I learn from this? I'm People know me because we don't know each other that long, but people know me as a feedback hungry person. I'm open for feedback, and everyone can give me feedback, even criticism. Although,
Yeah.
for other people's criticism, I just try to, you know I love getting feedback. I remember that, for a long time when I worked with clients, I might not have done it with you guys, but um, after the project, I immediately just call them like, okay, can you give me some feedback, please? I want to learn, um, and I like that. I want to learn. I want to grow, and
Yeah,
I
this
think,
is the same for me. Now we're going to jump to another level. Otherwise, we're going to talk the
yes,
whole hour
for
about
hours.
Corona, and I want the episode that it stands the test of time, at least with who you are. Okay.
Yes,
Now, video. Yeah, you're very very passionate about it. You're even drinking, I don't know, coffee or tea from a YouTube cup. So that's on purpose. I
it's tea.
mean,
Yes,
you are what, 28? Young?
I'm 28, 28,
Yeah.
28 years old.
I mean,
Pretty
first
young.
of all, having that kind of mindset, because it sounds that you're very conscious about your mindset. I mean, when I was 28, I wasn't like that. I mean, I tried to change the outer roles and everybody had to change, and then it would make me happy. But you're already more mature than I am. Now, you- I mean, YouTube is like, I don't know, how young were you when YouTube started? 2000, I don't know.
I think 2006 is when it started. So,
You were
well, that was the transition between Google Video and YouTube. I think I was uh 14.
14. Okay.
Yep,
And well, so
15.
YouTube came, and it was then YouTube came, and then you immediately started. This is my passion. I want to post cat
No,
videos or things like that. Or
no,
what did you
absolutely
do
not.
as a kid? Is there some link between your roots and video, or not at all?
Not really, because um, when I give workshops about video production, I also talk about how to present in front of the camera. And the way I know this is, until I was 22, 23 years old, there was nothing you could find about me, of me, in photo albums, private photo albums, like from family.
Okay.
I was a super introvert. And like, long story short, I was in IT, hardware. I was working with, like, not
As,
working. I
as,
mean,
a-
I
as,
was
a-
stealing my dad's old computer as a teenager,
as
17, 18
okay.
years old.
Yeah.
Yes, I was stealing the computer from my dad from the attic. I would disassemble it, assemble it again, install it. Like, I was playing with hardware. And I remembered that at the age of, I don't know, 17, 18, I was allowed to buy my first laptop. Instead of just enjoying it, I would just unscrew it. I would disassemble it. I would learn from it. And I learned by making mistakes. Literally, I broke things. I broke so many pieces of technology just by,
Okay.
disassembling them. But that's the way I learned. And at one point, I think I was, I don't know, 19 years old. It was, I think, and I started buying and selling on secondhand websites. I was buying old hardware, assembling
Okay.
it to a new computer, installing it, and selling it for a little profit. And I started doing that more and more. I was studying industrial engineering and ICT as well at
Okay.
that time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I stopped. I quit because it was too hard. I come from a human sciences background, so for me,
Okay.
the IT, the hardware was nice, but the software skills were not good.
Yeah.
And around that time, I discovered this guy. I think I was 19. I said that was 2010.
Mhm.
I discovered this guy on YouTube, Linus Tech Tips, Linus Sebastian. And he's the biggest nerd on YouTube. Literally, white socks, sandals, tank top, like little earring. It's a big nerd. And I start following him on YouTube, start watching his videos about how he talks about computers, like the
And
hardware, software, and those.
and
Yeah.
what triggered you about that guy? Did you like so much about him?
Well, he was talking about, the hardware. I was a hardware guy.
Okay, I understand,
And he
but
was
it was also the way he presented it, I assume. Was
not
it
really,
well?
because if you look at the videos from 2010, it was amateuristic, but it was
Yeah.
nice. He was talking about gaming gear, and as a nerd, I like that. So I just watched the way he was talking about computers, and basically, I liked it so much that I think after a year or two, I uploaded my first video on how to repair a laptop screen.
But
A friend of mine,
okay, but
yeah,
how did that go, that process? I mean, was that you said you were an introvert, and then
yes,
you watched this nerd? How was it? And then you said after 1 year, I want to do this too, because this took me
yes,
two
yes.
years to start. Eh? I mean, in my head, I keep
I
procrastinating. But what was the trigger
I
that you say tomorrow, next week? I'm,
Well, I remember very clearly. I switched from industrial engineering (ICT) to applied informatics, and I switched from that course to another course, cross media management or digital marketing. And I remember I was in, I think, one of the first classes of that cross media management course, and a good friend of mine, I told him, like, this guy, Linus Tech Tips, I want to do this. And I showed him my plan. I should actually look for the notebook, because I was writing down the topics I would talk about:
Mhm.
disassembling computers, how to assemble, how to repair, like all those kind of things. I was showing it, but I've been talking to this friend for months about this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But I never did, because, an introvert, I didn't want to share anything. Like, it was a big step. But then I said at one point, I had this friend of mine asking, "Hey, Peter, I have a defective laptop, and I want you to repair my screen." And there was a website, laptopscreen.com, and they gave me $20 discount, which meant $20 extra profit, if I would make a video on how to repair it. And I was like, this is the opportunity to start
Ah.
to upload a video. That was the very first thing I ever put on YouTube. I had the opportunity to earn $20. And if you go watch it, it's still on my YouTube channel. I was still trying to have this British English accent, because that's cool. It's horrible to listen, but it's fun to watch. And that was the first thing. And I remember I was scared. I was literally scared of putting myself in a video online. I was scared of what people would think, my accent, the way I looked, like anything. You would just think. But in the end, people liked it. People were surprised about my accent. They were surprised about the knowledge, the things that I could do. And there was so many positive energy fired at me. That was like, oh, well, nice. I need to do this again.
Yes.
Um, in between that video and the second video, there was there was a small time between that, because that's the time when I met Casey Neistat, at least on YouTube. He's the biggest vlogger on YouTube, or was. And I started a vlog, I think a year after, or half year after. I just, out of nothing, I started a vlog, and I remember I named it
Inspired by Casey. You want to literally
a
do a
bit
similar thing like him.
similar. Yes, I wanted to vlog, and I wanted to, the title of the vlog was My Road to Entrepreneurship,
Yeah. Okay.
including the hustle, the struggle, and the fun moments.
Okay.
And I wanted to show people my road to
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah. The
And it
journey.
was indeed, if you watch the vlogs, it is, of course, like copying Casey Neistat, like
Yeah.
everyone does. The
Inspiring is
film
it called?
style,
Yeah.
yes, it was inspiration. But for most, and I made a lot of mistakes making those videos, about sharing stuff that I shouldn't have shared, or copying, literally copying.
What are the
But in the end, I learned from that.
what are the three tips? What are the three biggest lessons that you learned there? That you, if you would meet yourself then talking about that, what would you say? Don't do that ever again.
Don't listen to what people say. It's a cliche, but I remember I had so many, I had many people telling me, like, what the are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
why English? Like, dude, you're living in Belgium.
Okay, that's
I
one.
remember that, but I'm happy that I pushed through
Okay.
because that's how my English improved.
Yeah.
The other thing is don't buy so much
Gear.
crappy quality gear.
Oh, okay.
as in no, sorry, it's not completely right. Do buy crappy gear, but not too much. Because I've lost money on buying stuff that was, that broke a week after. But I also learned from that, and that's something I take with me to my workshops now. Is okay, if you want to buy something cheap, where should you buy it, and what should you look at? Like, what is cheap,
Okay.
what is crap? I
Yeah.
now know the difference. The other thing is, what is I'm happy that I did it, because I remember so well that I was doubting so much about actually doing this, being afraid for the criticism. As said, I was an introvert. I've always been a soot or a nerd,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
forever. And of course, like, I've been raised quite strictly by my parents. I was afraid of their reaction. Like, what would they think about me putting myself on the
Yeah.
internet, World Wide Web, talking about whatever? Um, and it's a cliche, but just don't listen to what other people are saying, even not your family. And I've been waiting way too long to actually upload that first video. The first video initially I wanted to upload when I was 19 or 20 years old, but I did it only at 22 or 3, I think. So it's way too late. I could have enjoyed it more and longer if I would have started earlier, but I was held back, sorry, by my parents. My parents didn't want me to do all these kind of things, but I
Now,
could have started earlier. And that
now
was, I, yeah.
the if I hear you talking about creating videos and uploading them, I mean, you have lots of passion about that. When are you going to create new videos? I mean, real videos, and not real videos, but starting creating videos again, not about the things you're doing for the new studio, but real content about you, your journey, or is it still the
Well,
plan?
yes, absolutely. And it wasn't the plan. But I started my business almost 2 years ago. Um, and of course, that's the reason I quit. If you look at the vlogs, I quit at the moment I became full-time self-employed, because there was just no time for creating videos.
But
Um,
why did you start your own company? Because you said you were vlogging, and then you said, I'm going to do this for a business, I'm going to teach other people how to create
well,
videos.
the reason I started a business is because of actually creating the videos, and I was studying digital marketing. Because of creating those vlogs, people started to ask, like, "Hey, like, you create videos, you can do it well. Can you do this for me?" Like, some
Mm,
companies, not a lot. Um, and I started creating videos for those companies, like basic, like super basic. I didn't even get paid for them, or I got paid. You can bleep this out, but I got paid in gift cards, for example. Just a few gift cards for a video. Why not? I mean, I can buy something from the tech store, and I get I make a video in place. And yeah, I mean, that's how it started.
was that your dream to become an entrepreneur, to having your own business? I mean, you could do this also for working for another video company, eh?
Well, I wasn't working with video like I did when I started when I started my business. I mean, I remember when I was studying IT until, I don't know, until I was 21, 22. I was not thinking about becoming an entrepreneur at all. Like,
Okay.
business was not in my head. The reason I started a business is because I saw there was a lot of questions coming about this thing. Like, can you make a video for me? And I started part-time self-employed. In the meantime, I started working for who became the guy that became one of my best friends now. I started working part-time for his company, an
Mhm.
IT company. And during that time, I was doing the market. I was the marketing manager,
Mm,
and I think, actually, that's the thing. I think that period, that was only 8 months, I discovered that I wanted to do more with video, because I created videos for his IT company explaining what malware is, what a good antivirus is, what is a good
mm,
computer, blah blah blah. That was the moment actually I realized, like, hey, I can do something with this.
okay.
And after those 8 months, I was hired by Michael Humblet,
Yeah.
the sales guy.
Yeah.
And I remember that, while I was doing this part time for him, creating his sales show and so on, I start noticing like more and more people coming towards me with questions about video, and like actually there is an opportunity here. But I was an IT guy. I was not a creative guy. I was not a film guy. But I turned into that. It was gradually, it was naturally, it was very organic. I was not planning to become a videographer at all. It just, it just got into me. It instilled in me by, of course, from the age of 19 till now, I don't know how many hours of YouTube I've watched, but
Yeah.
if you watch these creators create videos going from tech to vlogging to podcasts and interviews, because actually that's my main interest now is these educational videos.
Yeah.
You learn so much by just looking, and that's also something we can talk about that later, but like in general education, I've learned everything I know from YouTube. Everything I know, from installing backdrops, which colors, lighting, of course,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
everything. This microphone, I've learned it. Everything I've learned from YouTube.
No, but it's the same for me. Now, you made a fantastic bridge for me. You're talking about Michael Humblet. You're talking about sales.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're an entrepreneur, and the oxygen for a company is called customers and revenue. I mean, and in order to get and attract new customers, you have to sell. What is the
Yes.
first thing, or what is your definition of selling?
I wouldn't be able to give you a definition, but how I see, how I look at selling is I sell, and I don't want to steal your words, but I sell I sell my passion. And it's easy to sell your passion if you know what you're talking about and if you can be energetic. So basically the only thing I do to sell, or that's the only thing I've done in the past 2 years, is I talked a lot about what I love to do. That's literally the only thing I've been doing.
Okay.
I've been talking to like one person hears the enthusiasm, that person hears the, like, there's passion, there's some knowledge there, he shares it to another person. Hey, you should talk to that person. And actually it all started with I've worked for a startup, Chestnut, from Peter Wellens, great guy, you should interview him as well.
Thanks.
I was introduced to Peter, I just worked there as a student for Chestnut. I was doing marketing as a student and started at KBC. That's what I wanted to say. It's a huge network. And because of that network, the network spread super fast. Yeah. I went from started at KBC to Network on the Nema to the other. Like I know quite a bit of those networks. If you get introduced there, I think the video is gone. Well, that's weird.
Okay. It's okay now.
Okay.
So you're talking about the networks of KBC.
So actually, so it's talking about your passion, and it's a network. And as long as you have those and you build up that network by, of course, going to network events, to just talk to people, people that are passionate. That's for me. That's my selling technique. It's just to talk about the passion and yeah.
Which is fantastic, but also, I mean, you can inspire a lot of people with your passion, but at a certain point of time, they need to have a project, and then you have to make a proposal, and then maybe you have to ask also for a contract. I mean, is that something that you feel that's okay because this is part of selling, or do you see that as a rather negative, because most people associate selling with something negative?
I don't see that part as negative, but I can tell you that I'm not good at it. I'm not the best person when it comes to providing a nice proposal with all the whistles and bells and so on, and following up and this and that. I'm not good at it, as in, you can compare it to this saying yet. Thank you. You have a manager, or you have someone who runs a business, and you have someone who creates businesses. I'm more the person that creates businesses or create things, and I'm like a squirrel, like I'm very distracted. And that's also why it doesn't really work that well for me, these processes of creating a proposal, following up, calling the client. Even with invoices now, I just forget about them, even though they don't pay. I should be going behind their asses and like, hey, you should pay me. Hey, like this. But that's just, it's not in me, although I would want to learn it. But that's the negative part of, I've never worked for a real boss or like a real company, so I don't know these processes. Do I want to learn about them? Yes, of course.
But
But when should I do that?
yeah, but I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, you're not, I would say, you're still pure, let me say, because there is no real, this is the way you should do it. I mean, you should really follow your gut.
Like you say, is indeed maintain that connection. And then I think that's one of the, that's said, that's how I sell, that's how I do business, is to, none of my clients, I believe is a client. All of them are partners. I think I can call almost all of my clients just like this and have a talk with them, have a chat with them, basically. And that's about keeping that network warm, and of course, as said, now for example, I since the coronavirus, 4 or 5 weeks full focus on this the film studio, and I felt bad because I haven't catched up with any of my clients so far, and it feels bad because I feel the need not to per se maintain that relationship to get business from them, but more like I have to talk to them. Can I help you? Like,
No.
genuinely, can I help you? Is there something I can do for you? I mean, there was a short example. There was a person that I, or like quite a big business here, like an event business in Antwerp, that I would start working with together with for the event space. Because of the coronavirus, everything shut down. Of course, they had to cancel all their events at my space as well. The first thing I said is, hey, can I make a video for you for an announcement? Anything that you want to tell your people with a video, no cost.
No.
We're living like, I'm here, you're across the street, I can just come with my camera, I can help you. It's not about, I want to get business from you. It's more like, hey, can I help? I have no work anyway, so what would change? I can help you, perhaps. And that's the only thing that matters at that point.
You serving.
Yes, I do know that I'm a helper. Like, my personality is I'm a helping, a pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. But I do it with a good heart. I mean, for me, it feels good to help people.
Yeah.
Whatever people tell me, I've people here helping me, chasing my ass. Like, don't do that, stop doing that, because it's business. But still, I do it, and it feels good. And it feels that's just the way it works for me. That's what I learned in the past 2 years of doing business. Is indeed, you have to give. I will always give. But I've learned a lot about who to give not to, or how to at least hold myself back and like think before I give.
Yeah. If you look to that interview with Magali Dreux and Seth Godin, what is his last name?
Seth Godin. Yeah.
Godin. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, he talks about now in these times, it's about serving and it's about giving. I mean, afterwards, people will forget what you have done or what you have said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And especially with that serving, if people are in trouble, whatever kind of trouble, and you can help them, I really do think you should help them. The same with selling. Now is that you're talking about, I have to talk with these people, indeed, and ask them if you can help them. But I would not rudely sell them something just to sell. I mean, I'm so convinced that afterwards these seeds that you have planted will return to you in an exponential way.
Yeah, maybe I've been planting seeds for years now, and yes, I do believe in I believe in good karma, and I do believe in that. There's what is this saying? There's this saying by Robin Sharma, but I don't know it by heart. It is indeed about the planting seeds, but I forgot what it was. It was a Mexican proverb. Yes, and he's talking about this quote. in like it's in, of course it's in a context, but people that see you giving, um, they're like, hey, stop giving, think about business, think about this, think about that, blah 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 blah. But they try to bury, like they try to like stop it, um, but in the end they don't really know what's coming out of it. And there's a few things or examples that I have in the business that I see that the seeds are growing. And actually I want to take this example, the co-working space. I've been giving a lot, cheap prices, good service, as in very warm and hearthy. This is for me. This is not a business project. This is not a profit project. This is purely for getting the right people together.
Mm.
And actually now I do feel it during this quarantine. People are asking me like, hey Peter, I really miss coming to the co-working space, can I please come and work here, I really like it so much. And it's not that, it feels good, even though I'm still giving, as in, um you know
It's not
um,
profitable.
it's not profitable. And I've always, and it's the honest Peter, and I sometimes shouldn't be this honest, but I even tell people coming in, the first thing I say, so this is the co-working space, blah blah blah, this is a little tour, but this is not a profit project, this is literally a passion project. And I tell everyone sitting here that this will not get me any profit. This is not the goal of this thing. This co-working space is a community, and I want to bring together people with a certain passion and certain energy, certain vibe, certain, of course, an expertise, because you have to work together. At least that's my vision, that's what I want to do here. And apparently, and it's really touching, people feel the same after sitting here for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I've had people sitting here for a week, and they instantly felt the vibe and were like, wow, this is really what I was looking for. And that is because I've been planting these seeds, because I've been giving other people that come over here.
Yeah.
There's so many people coming here. Hey Peter, I have a friend of mine, he is here in Antwerp for just a day, is it possible that he of course, yeah, sure, that's a coffee machine, there's a water, just that's a toilet, go ahead.
I If I would can go back to myself and being 22, I would choose the journey, the route of choose really the thing which gives you
Yes,
that positive feeling, that gut feeling, that intuition that you
yes,
say that's the thing.
yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, if I look at what I'm doing at this point, I mean, and this is also very transparent. For the past 2 years, my net income is the lowest you can pay yourself. I think it's like 1,000 euros net. I'm like, a lot of people are having the same income. Like, that's the lowest income you can have. Pay yourself out of the BVBA, the no BV, the what is the legal
Company.
structure.
Yeah.
Yes. And why I do that is simply because you know I care more about how I can invest in this thing, how I can grow myself as a business owner, as
Mm.
someone who shares this space and so on. I care way more about that than having a bigger net income and saving up for buying a house, or I don't know. Like, I don't. Of course, it's a choice. I made a choice a couple of years ago, and my choice is to go for business, but as in, you know. Growing things,
Yeah.
not as in business owner and
Collecting.
like collecting things. Of course, I do have a lot of physical
Yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah, 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 yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah, yeah.
but it's more like it's to create other
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
um and I care way more about that. For example, now the studio that I'm making, I'm building a new film studio, I'm renovating it 100% myself. The process to building that,
It's
and
the
I'm sharing
energy.
everything on Instagram
Yeah.
stories, like you can watch the progress.
Yeah, yeah,
You can see the energy going up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
at the start, 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was not disgusting, it was a mess, it was this, it was that. You can also see the energy there. but when you go further, you see the progress, and it feels so good to look at like what I have come from that space. And I
So
have that with the co-working space, the event space, with the videos. If I look at the videos that I created years ago, it's like, oh my goodness. My accent, like English, like everything is improving, and it's the process of that improvement.
but it's the process. I mean, the joy is in the process.
Yes,
And
and it's a cliche, but it is true.
Are you a reader or an audiobook listener?
I'm a very visual person.
Yes.
If I have the opportunity, if it is possible to watch a
Okay.
podcast, I
Okay.
do watch it. I mean, I like to watch people's reactions, mimics, and so on.
Okay. Okay.
It actually depends. I was a reader until 2 years ago. I read quite some books, like the typical business books, like 0 to 1, like even the classical personal development books, like How to Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, like these kind of things. But I haven't read a physical book, at least completely, for over 2 years.
Okay.
And I'm not proud of saying that, because it's there's wisdom and power in that physical book. But of course, while I'm in the car, while I'm going to the gym, I try to always listen to something that is educational.
What is then
Whether it's
what is then your number one podcast that you're listening to recently that you say
um,
this is now something very interesting, blowing my mind, changing my mind?
I've been listening to Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
I do almost only listen to English speaking or American podcasts. It's because language is more whatever. So yeah, I think Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey it's about leadership, of course. It's mind blowing. I do love
Why is it so
because
special?
it's specifically about leadership, and they talk about cultural things. They talk about HR. They talk about leadership in general. Like
Okay.
it's I'm only at episode 90 of, I think they're now at 400, 500. It's I'm still in 2017 when it comes to the podcast, so I've still a lot to catch up. But I really like that podcast. There were some specific episodes, I think I wrote them down, which were really good. They have guests like Simon Sinek and so on, so they have big names. But it's and Seth Godin as well. He was on the podcast as well, and it was a brilliant episode. But I don't remember that much about it. And if you would ask about other podcasts, let me feel free to share it. But I love listening to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like he might be my favorite one, because he's so like late, like a couple of weeks ago when the gym was still open. I watched the full episode with Edward Snowden. It was super nice. The one with Elon Musk, I'm a big Elon Musk fan. It was 2.5 hours of brain picking. You see the energy, but when I see these type of podcasts, I just get so energized, I want to start doing.
Is it because he's raw? Because it is what it is. There's nothing smooth.
Nothing edited. There's nothing like it is a conversation just like this one. And of course, like you have two of these big names, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. Of course, you're going to listen even to the stupid parts. Like you don't cut. But it's 2.5 hours of indeed raw talk. It's a real conversation. And what I like about that as well is the setting he is in. It's very I would feel at home there as well. And there's another podcast, Tom Bilyeu with
the Impact Theory. I'm a big fan.
Brilliant, but it's all that's made up. Like it's with teleprompter, it's with it's with a camera crane, it's with 5 people sitting behind cameras. It's like it's all orchestrated, just like London Real by Brian Rose. It's very orchestrated.
He's now really in the picture. London Real.
Yes, and is doing it well. But it's that's for me that's the difference. What is Tom Bilyeu is doing with Impact Theory and London Real. For me, Joe Rogan is raw. Same as Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss has some brilliant conversations. One that I really liked was with Dr. Garber Marty about neuroscience.
Trauma.
Oh
That's
goodness, that
that's
was
that's really that's really really funny that you mentioned that. I mean, I had Jan Bomré last week, the author of Flaw, and
yeah.
he's now reading his life work, which is also going to be published in English because he lives in the US and he lives next to Opera. Um, and his book, this is his masterpiece, as he calls it, his life work, is about trauma healing. And I asked him, and I'm going to ask you also a little bit the same question. What are your people that you look up to? And he said
hmm
Dr. Garber Marty. I mean, it's unbelievable
hmm
who that guy is and how he
yes,
talks about trauma
yes.
and healing. It's Did you know also Garber Marty was actually born in the Second World War, and he was a baby of 3 years old when his mother went because he's Jewish. So the Nazis came
He's
into
from
his
Hungary.
house. From
Yeah.
Hungary. Something like that. And then the Nazis came in his house or something, and his mother was really scared, and that's where he got his first trauma.
No,
Did you know
I
that?
don't know.
No. Yeah, it's
No.
unbelievable, that guy.
Yeah,
So
it's nice.
now the podcast, who are at this moment the people that you look up to, that you admire? It can be national, it can be international. That you say maybe it's Dr. Gabor Mate, or who are the people that inspire you right now? It can be on
There's
video, it can be on marketing, can be on anything.
yeah, of course. Well, I have next to my desk, which is right there, on the right, I have 6 photos of people that I am inspired by. First one is Bill Gates. Why? He is he's the richest man in the world, but still he is very down to earth. He's funny. He is a nice person to talk to,
Mm.
which is not super common, let's say, with the super rich, whatever. It's just like, also I'm an IT guy. I still use Windows. I'm a very big fan of what he's built. So it's about, for me, the Bill Gates is a combination of personality with even though with all the richness that he has. The other person is Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat for me is creativity and daring to do things. Then there is Marcus Brownlee. He is a YouTube creator as well. MKBHD is his YouTube channel. It is about tech videos. He's the biggest tech YouTuber on YouTube, a tech video maker on YouTube. He has built an imperium just by, if you look at his first videos 10 years ago, it's webcam quality. It's shit, but he grew it to one of the biggest channels on YouTube. And he inspires me a lot with how to create creative lighting, how to create like nice looking videos. And it's also about building something up from zero to where he is now. It's a very nice like um, projection of how you can go from zero to hero
Rags to
for me.
riches.
Yes. Gary Vaynerchuk is also next to
Yeah.
me on the photo. Even though I do know a lot of people are hating on him because of, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of reasons to hate him probably, but I
But
like this guy
I have to
because
say,
I've met him in life, in real life. He was super nice. I've seen him 3 times on one day. I have him on my vlog. It's super nice guy, and that's also an example of like zero to hero for me, but also still being humble and willing
yeah,
to help other people while being a business owner. And also the energy. I'm a bit like, some people call me like a little Gary V, like, because of the energy. Like, I'm very, I might talk too fast sometimes. I've never drank one coffee in my life, and I still have energy to work till 2-3 a.m. in the morning. I'm not supporting that, but still I have lots of energy, so that's a good connection there. Eminem is on my right as well on the photos. I like his music, but also the way he build up his life even now at this age.
okay,
Um, and then one person from the Netherlands that I look up to a lot because of the business that he is in is Tony Loorbach. They have a good podcast as well. He's the founder of Internet Marketing University,
okay,
emu.nl. And I look up to them a lot from a marketing perspective. Basically, I'm following their vision for a couple of years now when it comes to, when I advise or when I consult my clients. Like a big part of that is coming from their vision, not just copy pasting, but because what they say is matching up with what I see on American, American marketing manager, marketing persons, and what I've learned in school. Like it's a nice mix. And the cool thing about this guy, he's an introvert. He's great. They're amazing at marketing, but he is so funny. Like, but he doesn't realize. Like his humor is super dry, and I love that. I've seen him a few times live now on an event. You can approach him. He is, he's just a nice, smart guy, and I like what they're doing with their marketing company in the Netherlands.
Cool.
I think that's 5 or 6 people. I lost the count. I think there's one more, but I forgot. But I think those are the most important people. That Elon Musk. Sorry, of course, Elon is for me everything about daring to think and daring to do
Okay.
things. I love the way he's thinking about going to Mars. He's probably one of my biggest idols, just because of the daring to think different is the catchphrase or the line for me. Is daring to think bold and different than others.
Now, Peter, you're
Yes.
28. Within 10 years, who is Peter Van Keer?
Who am I, or what am I doing?
Who is Peter Van Keer within 10 years?
I'm still doing what I love, whatever that is. I might not be video. It's weird to say, but I went from being addicted to computers and like technology to liking videos and creative stuff and creating things. I would like to, as said, still do what I love, whatever it is. And I'm not living here in Belgium anymore. I live somewhere else. I don't know where, but I don't want to continue living here after a certain period. Of course, the States would be nice, although that's I don't want to have the American cliche, the American dream cliche.
What is still a dream for you? And it may be to do or to be for you, but a crazy dream. I mean, I don't know, playing in a movie next to Will Smith or something in the Bad Boys 5 or something, or having a date with Scarlett Johansson.
Well, as you might notice or not, I really like talking in front of the camera. I'm not only the person who likes to be behind the camera, but I really like talking in front of the camera. I would like to or love to become a host of some kind of show. I don't know, could be educational. If you look at, for example, Jimmy Kimmel Live, or if you look at Tom Bilyeu, like being a host and creating something like that, basically it's building a media company, but by being the host, by being the person that absorbs the information, gets it out in the right way. I would love to be a host for, I don't know, something big like that.
And what is holding you back to do that?
Well, honestly, I'm building on that. I'm still building it.
Okay.
I'm building, and that's for me the first step. Is one of the key stones is the film studio.
Okay.
It will give me because this is too small to create sets and whatever. But the film studio is the first step. The second step, which I have actually already built, is the co-working space. It's the community. It's this collective of people instead of co-working space. I have the different spaces with which I can do a lot, and I want to start using them I wanted to start using them in 2020. Might be, we might be postponing that for about a year, but I want to start using that to build up this next dream, this next step.
Okay.
So
cool. Now, Peter, I want to thank you for your time, your passion, and I'm very grateful to have you as a guest. Now, is there something that you thought that you want to add that we did not touch in this conversation that you want to share?
What would that be? I think it's quite random. But we as Belgian people are always afraid of doing things, right? As I talked before, and speaking in front of the camera is one of those things. one of the things I always hear when I give a workshop is, I don't like myself in front of the camera. I don't look good. My accent is not good. Blah, 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 blah. Is to try and forget the projection that people made of you. Like, try to discover who you can really be. And one of the ways that I discovered that is by starting to learn to speak in front of the camera. Is try it. You now have to, basically,
Do it.
because of this crisis. Just do it. Record yourself. Put a video of yourself online, because that's how I learned to speak in front of groups. That's how I learned more than I could ever, train for. Speak in front of the camera. Learn to speak in front of the camera with confidence gives you opportunities in a lot of ways. And I've discovered that, and I've seen other people grow by just doing that. But you have to accept yourself. I've literally accepted myself for who I am, and that is the moment that I start growing even more. And I'm specifically talking about
Look at that. We're going to end with a very spiritual conclusion. Accept yourself, who you are. Self-love by Peter Van Keer.
Exactly.
Peter, thanks a lot for your time and your passion again. And
thank you so much for the invitation.
And I'm really curious to find out what this post-corona thing is going to bring for you. So let's keep in touch.
I'm curious as well. All right.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Peter. Bye-bye.